We are just about ready to get underway. We've got opening hands here, and so we'll have Gabriel on the U.S. side, Hervé on the USSR side, and so looks like we've got Gabriel's hand on the bottom, Hervé's on the top. And Ted, what do you make of these opening hands?
Yeah, so looks like decent hands for both players here. So this should be an exciting turn one here. I'll be interested to see. I think Gabriel's looking at either Purge, which it looks like he is going to go for, and captured Nazis with the other one if he wants some ops. And then what do you think about Hervé?
Yeah, both these players have excellent opening hands. I think they're both quite happy to see. Yeah, we've got Decal, De Gaulle, and Duck. No 4-ops in Hervé's hand, whereas Gabriel's got 3 4-ops, but Hervé's got De Gaulle, Duck, and now he's got Decal, Duck. Now, perhaps against that headline of Purge, Hervé wishing he'd headline De Gaulle so he could take France right away. But Decal, Duck, still quite a strong combo. Would you expect to just see a coup of Iran here to protect Vietnam? Or, excuse me, protect Thailand?
Yeah, that would make sense. I think I agree with you. I think he was probably planning to take France, and that is what he was going to do. He was going to let DEFCON drop, and then he is probably going to coup Iran here, I'd imagine. But props to Hervé for no fear. Does not have defectors in hand, and headline Decal anyways.
I am always a little bit scared to do that as the USSR, because having Decal defected in the early war is so painful. And so it looks like looks like Gabriel is considering a coup back here, even with France open. And he gets the roll. Okay, so a big 6 for Hervé, getting 2 into Iran, and Gabriel decides he's going to coup back, and he gets the roll there with a big 5. So now Gabriel with access to Western Asia. Of course, Hervé will get Thailand, and be interesting to see how he attacks France here.
Yeah, no, I like that play by Gabriel, because your opponent's Purge, right? So unless he has a 4, he's not going to be able to take France. It is a little bit of a gamble, but Hervé just has so much to do on the board here. And you do have the extra 4-op to fight for France if you want it.
Yes. Obviously, Hervé is purged, and Gabriel with plenty of ops on his side. And so, yeah, just in case you're going to stick one in France, I like that. And I like getting into Pakistan as well to spread out, even though Iran no longer under any kind of threat. Also would like to see Gabriel get to space here with the Nazis in hand.
Yeah, the one thing here is leaving Asia dominate. Well, I guess he'd need to use his 4-ops if he wants to put the one in France to stop Asia domination. So I guess he's just going to risk it.
Yeah, he'd have to take both Pakistan and Philippines to stop that. So I think
interesting that we did get a decal into Indonesia. I just realized that, which I guess makes sense given that he decalled at DEFCON 5. Those African countries are not appealing.
Yeah. That is interesting. Normally, you like to see, and of course, into South Africa as well. So now with DEFCON 2, the USSR takes both Angola and Lebanon. So USSR certainly happy to get to both those countries. And so Europe looks like it might be blue here, but certainly getting into Thailand, getting into Africa early on, very important for the USSR.
Yep, and Hervé's got a very strong board position this early in the game here. It does look like getting Lebanon, I think, was really smart. And the U.S. is going to have to really spread out here to make up some ground.
Yeah, and so, I like getting into India. I mean, Ted, you and I have had so many games decided by an early IP war here, just trying to minimize the impact of that as much as possible, because it looks like, it's almost certain at this point that Gabriel's going to need to hold both India and Pakistan in order to prevent Asia domination. So getting those countries covered up is important. No scoring cards in either player's opening hand, so we'll see which one of them come out on turn 2. And it looks like Gabriel's not in much of a hurry to get to space. NORAD was UN, probably not, and certainly no other space candidates in Hervé's hand.
Yeah, one thing to watch here is going to be Lebanon. A Lebanon poke on AR6 could be very mean.
Oh, that is an interesting idea. If Lebanon is the only presence. Also, a Lebanon flip potentially on AR6 with 5-year plan. And so Interesting. Gabriel not showing any interest in getting into space, but that makes sense. France obviously so important, and Truman's still out there, unseen by both players. Wonder if Hervé might think about eventing de Gaulle.
Yeah, you know what?
AR6.
That's exactly what he's going to do. You are right. Yeah, that's mean. That is mean, but what a great idea.
Yeah, so now you really hope Gabriel doesn't draw Truman on AR on his next turn. But even if he does, their Suez and Socialist still around. So I wonder if you might see a de Gaulle event here. You could also just use de Gaulle's 2 ops to put 2 into France, and the U.S. still wouldn't be able to take it.
Oh, reaching for the China card.
Ooh, on turn 1.
Interesting. Are we going to see South Korea?
South Korea is important. That would establish Asia domination. Maybe he's going to give up France here and just headline. Ooh, okay. He's going to protect North Korea. Going to overprotect North Korea and giving up the China card. Ted, what do you think of that move? Are you someone who likes to jam North Korea as the U.S. when you get the China card?
Okay, hold on. So he's now, yeah, I liked the de Gaulle event idea. I'm not, maybe it didn't occur to Hervé, but I like that idea. Now, here's what I would do here. I would put the one in France for domination, and then I'd use the other 2 to break Lebanon. I think because you're going to take him out as presence list, and even a Nasser headline does not get him presence.
Yeah, so if you draw Middle East scoring, that's a guaranteed 4, maybe 5.
Right, and Lebanon's going to be left broken, so the USSR is most likely going to coup, and then you take Lebanon.
Yep. So it looks like Hervé is going to hold on to de Gaulle for next turn and try to headline it and then flip France that way. France is overprotected, but not double overprotected. Let's see if he gets a 4 ops. He does get a 4 ops, but it's Marshall. And Truman, yes, Truman makes a lot of sense as a headline here against the potential de Gaulle. So Hervé is going to go with de Gaulle. Truman is going to be an excellent counter to that, and Gabriel's going to score a domination in Europe.
Wow, well done by Gabriel, because he overprotected. He read that so correctly. I guess he didn't really have other great headlines. Captured Nazis. Yep. And Hervé's going to acknowledge that was a great play.
Yes. So Hervé with no way back into Europe, he's going to have to eat that 5 points for domination. Now, Middle East not looking so great for Hervé, so I would expect to just see the run of the mill coup here, right? Just a coup, maybe in Egypt.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So he coups Panama with just a 2 op, gets a 3, and wipes the U.S. out. And so probably figuring that the U.S. is not going to take a non-battleground here. So I wonder if you may see the scoring just dumped immediately, and that looks like what Hervé's thinking about after Europe scoring was just cashed in for the 5.
Yep, and that is what he is thinking. So that's going to be 2. And he's going to get back on the score track here with Asia, I assume. I don't think the U.S. can stop it.
No. In India, Gabriel can take India, but Hervé can just respond by taking South Korea.
Yeah, a little bit interesting on Hervé's part, because he does have IP war, and so in an ideal world you'd get that off and then try to score Asia, but you do put yourself at risk. If you lose the war, is potentially you lose domination.
Yes, so it's going to be an interesting decision here. If if the U.S. is in both those countries, you have the 1 in 3 shot of flipping India. Or you can just simply take South Korea, and with enough Southeast Asian countries left, it's unlikely the U.S. is going to be able to stop domination. But the U.S. does have the China card, so we'll see what these guys decide to do. Me personally, when I have my domination, I like to score it as soon as I can. I don't like a situation where I have an opportunity to score domination, something weird happens, and then I give it up. So I would probably look to score it as quickly as possible, especially already down 9 VPs. What would you do?
Yeah, it's tough, right? Yeah, I mean, man, flipping Pakistan or India with IP war and then scoring Asia, that's how you get 7, 8 VPs out of that. But I agree. I just think you can't afford to lose that domination.
So having a little bit of technical difficulties. Okay, so it looks like it looks like Gabriel decided to take Burma instead of filling up India. Probably reduce the temptation for the war there. And then Hervé decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and score my domination, pick up 5 VPs. So that's exactly what he did. And so the VP tracker is sitting now at 4 for the U.S. All 3 regions scored. And now I wonder if space is a priority. Gabriel's still sitting with captured Nazi scientists from turn 1. And not a lot of ops otherwise. So I think I would imagine that'd be a priority to get off to space here if you can, if you're Gabriel.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that Hervé didn't take South Korea first and then score because, well, I guess China into Japan and India then would have stopped the domination. So,
yep, and so still neither player's gone to space. Sorry, folks, we had a little bit of technical difficulties, and so India now filled. Indo-Pac in Hervé's hand, probably a good hold card for Hervé. Maybe he wants to hold Marshall. We'll see. Holding it there prevents the U.S. from getting mill-ops on turn 3, of course, unless you have to give up CIA. Well, CIA has been seen. What has not been seen is D-stall. So who draws that on turn 3 is going to have a major impact here on what the Americas look like.
But yes, both players very anti-science right now. No interest in space. No interest in seeing what's beyond this planet. So we'll see if that continues.
Yes, happy to stay on the ground. Now, Gabriel will be happy to hold socialist governments through, I imagine. With the Middle East scored, probably socialist governments a better hold than Nasser. But maybe he will hold Nasser. I think you've got to get to space here. I don't think there's any...
No, they hate science. No,
Yeah. Well, maybe.
Reaching for it. If there are any Chinese players watching, they are upset right now.
They would be aghast.
Okay, finally.
Okay, so Gabriel picks up a couple more VPs, and now Hervé has to decide what he's going to do if he wants to. Yeah, maybe he may secure Iraq here. Yeah, I like that to stop the poke. Now, obviously, Gabriel doesn't have anything to do that. He's going to have to give up Nasser. Fills Libya. I like that decision. We go into turn 3.
Hey, both players playing
blockade,
very
no
quickly. No blockade, no D-stall. Gabriel, I think, wisely held socialist governments. So nice to not have to deal with socialist governments for basically the entire game.
Yes, and especially with Romania under control, a socialist government's headline into an AR1 Europe scoring would be huge. And Hervé does draw Europe scoring, but he does also get D-stall, so he's probably going to be happy to see that. I didn't see what he was reaching for. I think it was Suez. Is that right, Ted?
Yes, I think so. We have not seen Suez yet, and pretty good hand on Gabriel's part as well. He's got 2 4-ops. Fidel can go to space, which you like, and you're in a decent. Well, no, I guess the coup here is going to have to go to the Middle East. So you might. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this makes sense too. He doesn't really have a great other hold option. Headline options.
It looks like I would assume that Hervé is going to score Europe immediately, and so as to not have to eat this domination, and then give up the coup. Is that what you do?
Well, it's tough. Well, he knows. Okay, so he knows Gabriel has Korean War because the thing you got to think about, right, is the mill ops too. So it's tempting to say, well, I got out of a 5, VP Europe scoring, but by doing that, you're going to hand, theoretically two VPs to your opponent plus the coup. So it's really only a 3 VP difference.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about that then. Also, of course, Gabriel needs to spend 3 ops immediately to retake domination in Europe, and maybe he won't do it if Europe is not scored right away. So let's see what Hervé decides to do. It looks like he's just going to dump the scoring, and so he's going to give up those mill ops, and figuring that perhaps the U.S. doesn't want to give up the China card, so maybe they'll give up one of either Fidel or Korean War, and he'll get his mill ops that way. The USSR also without a profitable coup target here. Now, obviously, you don't want to give up a coup of your own, but with the Middle East scored right away and not coming back for a while, just not quite as profitable to coup there.
Yes, that is true. That is true. And now you're in an interesting situation. We've seen Truman, so Now, Hervé does not have a good card to jam France with, so I would assume, it's just been scored. He's got to take the 3 out of Romania for D-stall, so he's probably going to ignore it. I would expect so. D-stall here. I would expect D-stall after the coup.
Yeah, I think there's no need to rush because the U.S. is not in Panama, but there's also no reason to wait, I don't think. Certainly want to. You're going to empty out Romania and then assume the one in Finland, if that has not already been taken by East European unrest. And then, so what do you think? 1 Panama and 3 South America?
Yes, that's, I think, what I would do. Interesting. Okay. 2. Okay.
So he goes aggressive here. Well, yeah. Would you try the Hail Mary realigns?
Yeah, you have 2 4-ops. What else are you doing here? Italy's been scored. You can't. Can you defend Asia?
You can defend Asia by packing Japan.
Yes, which you have time to do. So yeah, I like the realigns because you really just have to hit on one. I think it's probably worth it, right? Get them out of Venezuela, and then if you get 2 of those countries, or even potentially 3, just devastating.
That could be game-winning right there, just essentially undoing a D-stall. I played a game the other day where I got incredibly lucky that a D-stall similar to this, used a 4-op, knocked them out of both in South America, eventually was able to score South America control myself, just changed the whole game. But of course, you could also miss on all 4 of those, and then it just feels so terrible to lose out on 4 ops, 4 valuable ops in the early war. So he just decides to play it safe and uses 4 ops elsewhere.
Yeah, I just looking at the board though, I think that is a time because yes, it does feel horrible to lose those 4 ops, but I think looking at the board that was a good time to do that because you don't have that much to do with your ops. He is going to have to defend Asia here at some point. Take Mexico, potentially Cuba because he's going to space Fidel. You would assume.
Yeah, normally, the U.S. has a use for those ops on turn 3. Take Mexico, Panama, sometimes Algeria, sometimes fill up Southeast Asian countries. But not really the case here. The USSR has gotten into all those places and now has spread out. Ted, I'd love your opinion on whether to event blockade here as the USSR. Obviously, Hervé knows that Gabriel has socialist governments, so it's not like he's going to forget about it. But with Korean War and Fidel in his hand, I think Hervé would like to get one of those evented or get China back, right? So would you consider eventing here?
Yes, I would. Okay, now we're going with the realigns and boots him out of Southern Africa. Okay, that was an effective realign. But yeah,
a little bit risky there in South Africa as well. With risking your own influence at just +1. I'm sorry to interrupt, Ted. Continue.
No, but you have to take that risk. Otherwise, the first realign is kind of useless.
Yes, for sure.
But yes, blockade would put you in a good position to get mill-ops or force Gabriel to play the China card if he wants to avoid that.
Yep. Okay, so we'll see that next. Certainly we'll see blockade before containment so that we don't see a card like Korean War discarded. So, Gabriel also has double space if he can hit the roll on the first one.
Yes, so I don't love this. I would very much like to keep the 4 ops. You have so much to do. You got a space. Just do that. Why? Mexico or Angola are both not threatened.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So now Gabriel spends his 4 ops. Now he's left with an empty action round and 2 events he really doesn't want to trigger. So
and
I would like to see blockade evented.
Yeah, he's gonna have to play China if he wants to even out Asia too.
Yeah. So, obviously, it feels bad to spend 3 ops in Japan and then have the USSR immediately play US-Japan. Obviously, that feels really bad for the US. But you want Asia evening out Asia is within your grasp, and looks like he's going to pass on that opportunity. And it looks like now. So I wonder what's going to. Okay. And he does hit the roll. So if blockade is evented now, Fidel can still go to space. So yeah, I like this containment play here. Either boost socialist governments to a 1-op or give him a 3-op Fidel, which you'll gladly take. So yeah, I like not eventing blockade with the successful space.
Yep. Good point. Successful space. I would assume you're going to see socialists here.
Yeah, as a 1-op, and then you hold Fidel. Or he could just try for the 2 VPs right away and ignore containment. Also knowing, of course, that the USSR is holding on to blockade, so good to have socialist governments in your hand to discard to it.
I guess there's something to be said for that. Ooh.
Okay, I like this play. I didn't even think about this. I rarely think about Taiwan in this game. But that is just as effective, if not more so, in evening out Asia. And with the U.S. having the China card, it's a little bit awkward that way. But yeah, that evens out Asia as well, taking Taiwan. But you do give up Cuba, of course.
I don't. Yeah, man. Listen, a lib Theo or junta here, and Central America control plus South America control. I mean, it's not inconceivable. The game ends next turn here. I mean, if everything goes poorly for Gabriel.
Yeah. So let's see what Hervé picks up. There's the junta you mentioned. And, okay, colonial rear guards for the U.S. 5-year plan. Of course, he's not going to be using that. Okay, so yeah, there's the junta. And so we will see, I imagine, just 2 in Mexico, coup Mexico, and then repair this damage from colonials, right?
Yes. And so
I assume we will bury you.
Yep. So looks like Central America control is going to happen here, at least temporarily.
So question is, if we see a crappy roll, then where does Gabriel prioritize his ops? Because he would need 2 ops in Mexico, and then he would only have 2 ops left to repair the colonial damage. And so he gets an okay roll. So he needs 1 op in Mexico. Certainly, I think that's worth 1 op. And then where would you put the other 3, Ted?
You have to defend Africa, right? Because you're at risk of getting controlled there. I know you have the scoring in Southeast Asia, but I think you need at least 2 in Africa here.
Yeah, I think the country I'd give up here is Indonesia, thinking about brush war as well. Mm-hmm. And then I would be looking to dump Southeast Asia as before the U.S. fills up the Philippines and Malaysia. Oh, here comes China, and so Gabriel does not take Mexico for Central America control.
That's interesting. I guess he figured it's realignable. But if I am the USSR, that is so valuable. I just think it panics the U.S. when Central America is controlled.
Yeah, I get. So he prioritized Southeast Asia. The scoring is in his hand. It's a 2 VP swing. Not protecting Indonesia means you're giving up 2 VP. Protecting it, obviously, you get the 1 instead of losing the 1. So I get it. But, man, Mexico just seems so valuable. Force the U.S. to respond. Now, the U.S., of course, is immediately going to go into Guatemala if you take Mexico. But you need mill-ops anyway. It's not a question of denying mill-ops. And also, got to mention that the U.S. is in a little bit of an awkward position here. Gabriel holding Muslim and cultural along with the China card. He just jammed 3 ops into Taiwan to even out Asia. He doesn't want to play the China card right away to kind of undo all that work. And yes, and indeed, Hervé just decides to go ahead and dump the scoring there.
Yep. Okay. And now we're going to start setting up realignments, which I don't know that the U.S. really has anything else to do. Although Gabriel does have double space, so I might have space there. I'll just get that out of the way.
Yeah. So this realignment does make sense, but that also makes sense for Muslim Revolution. If you feel like you must trigger it, you can get back into Libya and Iran. And so we see a coup there, just to get the mill ops. And so now I'm a little confused by this because this is an empty action round.
Well, okay, so you know your opponent has blockade, so there goes socialist to that. You can space cultural and Portuguese, right? I mean, I think you're guaranteed the double space.
Yeah, that's true.
You get a lot of empty action rounds there, right? I would assume. He does not have a coup target, so he's going to have to event IP war. So basically, you're down to your last 3 ops.
Could also event Portuguese and coup Southeast African states if he is willing to put another couple ops into Angola as well.
That's true.
But yes, you're right. So he's going to get rid of Muslims. He's got to hold socialists for the blockade. He's going to space cultural. Always annoying as the U.S. stuff to space cultural and keep it in the deck. But I think it's the right call here, no question. Especially with 2 VPs on the line.
The one other thought with cultural, and I don't know if this makes sense, is you could just play it and just put it into Japan.
Yeah, you put into Japan, give up, and then give up the China card. And so then would he have domination? That's an interesting play if it would get in domination. It wouldn't, it looks like. They'd each have 6 countries, and then it might be a scramble into Malaysia. Okay, Quagmire event.
It's actually kind of helpful for Gabriel in a way.
Yeah, that is not going to accomplish much unless we see a missed roll here. Yeah, okay, so Gabriel has to be thrilled to see that get a nasty event out of the deck and a card that he didn't want to deal with out of his hand.
Yeah, so just to go down the Cultural Revolution rabbit hole a little bit, you would leave, as of now, Pakistan would be vulnerable, right? So your opponent would get the China card. They could flip Pakistan, but you're sitting there on a 50-50 IP war.
Ooh, yeah. Yep.
And that could be a nice little trap. He's not going to do it. Maybe I overthought that, but that would be a nasty trap.
It's interesting, yeah. And Ted, I didn't even think about the potential of giving away the China card here. But you could do it, and with Formosan in effect, you maybe want to shore up Southeast Asia first, as well. Just because if you're going to seriously try and get a Formosan aided domination, then you're going to need 2 more countries in Asia, if I'm counting correctly. So you're going to need to take both Malaysia and Philippines. So yeah, that'd be an interesting play. It looks like he's not going to go for it. Also, again, space is valuable here. The one small step is seen, so there's no rush, but you do want to get to that 3rd spot and get those 2 VPs.
Yep, you do. And this is tough as the U.S. here, right? Because, Africa is kind of the one sort of swingy region. And then otherwise, you're just going to try to stave off the USSR until late war here, because there's not a lot of great ways to get VPs.
Yeah, and IP Wars just played for ops, which means no mill ops, right? Unless I'm seeing something wrong. So that's 2 VPs given up by Gabriel to get those 2 ops. Potentially 4, obviously, if he wins the war.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I don't think I like that play. So Gabriel's going to space socialist governments. I would have evented the war there to get my 2 VPs in with a shot at 4. And so now Hervé's got to decide, is he going to event blockade? Or is he going to play it for ops and hope it sticks around the late war? I think probably Gabriel space socialist and not cultural, because he wanted blockade to be evented. But no, it looks like Hervé doesn't have a particularly scary region. Obviously, Africa doesn't look good at the moment, but one coup or a decall could very quickly change that. So 5-year plan, I don't know if you necessarily need to hold it. So you could just 5-year plan, get rid of blockade, get a couple of extra ops. What do you think, Ted? What would you do here?
Yeah, well, I actually do. So the Gabriel play with IP War does set up the realignment on in Algeria, and so you do put yourself in a position to control Africa if you do that. So I do kind of get that. Now the problem that Hervé has is that if he plays into non-battlegrounds to try to protect Algeria, I like that. Okay.
So he jams Mexico and forces Gabriel to fix that, and that makes sense. So he does pick up the 2 VPs for mill ops, and so forces him to fix it, and forces him, of course, Ted, just as you were saying, to not realign Algeria.
I don't know why Portugal needed attention there, but okay. I would have liked Saharan states, I think.
Saharan states, yeah, is a possibility there to further the realigns. Perhaps he's afraid of an Italy brush war.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Because there aren't other great brush war targets.
Yeah, you'd have to go for. I mean, Mexico's a nice target. Okay, well, and the U.S. Hervé does draw brush war. So,
yep, and decall and flower power. Nice hand there. He does have some problems here, and Bear Trap's gonna prevent him from getting full value. This will be an interesting turn, because then Gabriel here at the bottom of the screen, he's got voice.
He's got voice. He's got Sadat. Happy to see that. So not much in the way of ops in the U.S. hand here, but still some powerful events. And okay, so he's just going right for brush war. What do you think, Mexico here?
I think it has to be Mexico. Yeah.
And he hits it. So now Mexico at 10-0. Oh, but he does miss on the roll. All right.
Start cooing Mexico, I guess.
Yep. So nuclear subs coup Mexico. No.
Yeah.
So I assume we'll see. So you don't have to rush into the coup.
No, man. Next in Mexico. I mean, voice can't even help you there.
Yeah, I do like Panama though. Panama Canal, you can use that.
Che is relatively free.
Yeah, Che stops the realign potential in Algeria, but that's it.
But I think you're okay with that. Your opponent already has their mill ops. Doesn't seem like you're going to prevent arms race, so you don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, you're right about the Panama, because Panama, otherwise is not super useful in this type of scenario. But here you could potentially, get in there, cause some problems, and still coup, and then have Voice of America in your back pocket.
Okay, so Hervé gets out of the trap, and now you've got a little bit of a question here. You want to just coup Panama, and that you just put one into, or do you want to try and get into South America?
I mean, it doesn't really matter. They're both controlled.
Yep, and so the Panama coup is a good one, is just enough. So he's very happy. Obviously, if you coup in South America, you need to take full control of the country. But Panama, now you just wipe out the USSR, and you can take control of it at your leisure here, with Hervé not having the scoring. So the Che coup, he realizes that needs the big op, so he gives up the coup on Tunisia, and Tunisia flips. So no more realign opportunities there. And wow, that actually could have been an interesting Costa Rica coup if the USSR was able to get back into Costa Rica. Could have taken Panama back. Would have needed a 5, if my calculations are correct, to take back Panama. Doesn't get it, and so now looks like the USSR is, the US, Gabriel is going to avoid Central America control, but South control is still a big problem for him. So the brush war hits Mexico. The Americas looking very red. Now we'll see a 3-amp. I wonder if you might see... Nope, he's just going to go into Saudi Arabia, protect Cuba. And Gabriel immediately uses a 1-op to fill up Panama. And so Sadat is an event here. Camp David, I would think, probably a pretty decent event. And then Arab-Israeli war becomes free, and then you maybe hold cultural, or just send it to space and keep holding that China card. Still would like to see 3 ops into Japan, which would give domination, but not a lot of ops on Gabriel's side here, so not able to do that this turn, certainly.
No, he does not have that option. It would not appear.
Yeah, Camp David event, not a necessary event here, but I like it, especially with Arab-Israeli in your hand. You pick up the 1 VP, get 3 more influence into the Middle East, get that 1 into Israel, which could be important.
And So Arab-Israeli were free.
Yeah, let's look ahead here, Ted. You may want to space. You may see space, Cultural Revolution space to get to headline peak. Where do you think this voice is going to go here? I assume an AR7 play, of course, but where would it go?
Not a lot of good options. 2 out of Nigeria, Cuba.
What about Thailand?
Yeah, Thailand's 2 out of Thailand, maybe 2 out of Cuba. I think makes a lot of sense. I mean, you could either be 2 out of Thailand and then 2 out of Laos, but Brush War's already been seen. Now, Hervé is smartly holding decall, so we might just see Voice of America clean up decall.
Yeah, and he's also holding on to duck and cover, potentially Worried about a missile envy there. Had an opportunity to get rid of duck and cover. Oh, I see. Yeah, I did not see. It looks like he's going to think about eventing salt here. Oh, he's not going to event it.
I don't know that there's any reason to do that. You know, why open yourself up to the coups?
Yeah. Okay. So to get brush war back and potentially target Panama. But Junta has been seen. We have not seen ABM. And so it looks like, we're just going to see a decall event here. It's not going to be all that powerful with these countries over-controlled.
No, that is true.
You can't stop the realigns for sure. Yeah, okay. Just threaten flips there. And so voice here. Yeah, he's just going to use it in South America. Okay. So if this is what Gabriel wants to go for, then duck and cover is an excellent hold card for Hervé, because he can use duck to repair that, not give up a coup. Obviously, there's grain sales to think about, many other things to think about. Okay, and there's South America scoring, and no Kennedy. And there is Kennedy for the USSR. So Hervé has Kennedy. He's also got some problematic cards. Boy, he's got Kennedy, duck, US Japan, which gives up domination. This is a hand where he may have to. Oh boy, and puppets is a problem as well, and he doesn't have double space. Ted, this is a hand where he may have to just hope that the South America scoring isn't held till AR7. These are some painful events he's going to have to give up if he wants to get rid of Kennedy. What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to come down to what happens with South America, because once I see South America, I have no problem playing Kennedy.
Of course, yes.
Now, so I'm interested, if I'm Gabriel, I might headline South America.
Okay, so he's going to headline the Purge. So I think a duck duck here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very nice. He's very happy to do that, give up 3 VPs and take back Venezuela and Brazil. Now the ops situation, no 4 ops other than, of course, China in the U.S. hand, but he doesn't want to give up China because of the Formosan situation. And other than that, not much in the way of ops.
Now, why would you have headlined South America there?
So yeah, that is interesting. So I guess with ABM unseen, maybe you hope that you can get maybe you hope that a purge. Yeah, so South America headline is a little bit of a gutsy play. A lone gunman, of course, would get the USSR domination. He just probably figured he was a little bit afraid of lone gunmen and afraid of ABM. But it would have been an interesting play. South America scoring, best case scenario in that situation is would be looks like 4 for the USSR. Of course, it's going to be a lot more. And Ted, it looks like he's going to play cultural, give up the China card. I guess hope it doesn't get played on him, and then use Nixon to take it back. What do you think of this play?
Yeah, that's the thinking. I think I would do the same with the China card. I would like to see him be more aggressive. I mean, look at South America. Why not just jam Venezuela with it, knowing your opponent's purged? I don't know, what did he do here with it? I mean, I just don't know if he's accomplishing much. Okay,
he's thinking about the jam.
Both players are going to be short on ops here pretty quickly. Hervé will be able to defend against.
So he's going to poke Venezuela. I'd rather see a jam than a poke, personally. I don't know that a poke is that effective. Where did the other op go? I'm sorry, Ted, I didn't see it.
It looks like he over-controlled Angola. Yeah, he put one.
I think that probably could have waited. But on the other hand, that would swing Africa domination. Neither player with Africa scoring, of course, they don't know that.
Yeah, so Africa and Asia are going to come out here on turn 7.
Yeah, and I would think if I'm Gabriel, I'd say, well, if Hervé wants to spend a 4-op flipping Angola. Of course, he could have one of the events. I think Portuguese was seen, but South African was not. So maybe that does make sense. I was thinking about flipping it with pure ops, but of course, okay. Now, and Hervé's just going to immediately play China.
Yep, I think that's smart. Yeah.
Yep. And so that poke in so it's interesting that poke in South America maybe gives away that he has the scoring. And so Hervé may be willing to give up some of these other painful events in order to not give up Kennedy. Puppets is not that bad right now. OAS is annoying, but you hold that. Giving up Japan is annoying, but because the U.S. hasn't taken those Southeast Asian countries, it does not change domination. The U.S. would need to fill up Philippines and Malaysia in order to get domination. Okay, yeah, and a one-op coup, good thing to do under Purge as well.
Yep. Okay. But Hervé doesn't really have problems, right? Because you can space U.S. Japan. I think you just give up puppets and you hold Kennedy and OAS, or you space Kennedy and hold.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Ted. I'm sorry, folks. I forgot about that. Hervé played the China card, of course, so now he can hold 2 cards, space a third. So yeah, he doesn't have a problem here. South America will be getting scored for 8. And maybe 10 if things don't happen, because Allende not a problem. Willy Brandt also not a problem. OPEC 3 points, that is a problem for the U.S. And the U.S. also wants to get to headline peak.
Yeah, that South America headline.
Yeah, South America headline could have been nice.
I get you're afraid of gunmen and you're afraid of ABM, but you didn't really have any other way to prevent. I mean, the other alternative is almost assured control.
Yeah, the other alternative is the USSR repairs, and then you get a big old coup with the China card. But the USSR short-circuited that with Duck. So I think that probably is what Gabriel was hoping for, is that Hervé just had to repair with a garden variety 2 or 3 op, and then he'd get a big coup. But that obviously is not what happened. So now he's going to swallow the scoring. And now, okay, he's going to space US-Japan. Like that play, misses on the roll. So Hervé's still not off the ground on the space race. Now, which card would you hold here? Obviously not South America. Would you hold OPEC, or would you try to hold Nixon here as the U.S.?
Yeah, and there goes South America. I think probably OPEC and just get it out. Just
and
hold
now,
it to turn 7.
So I think I like that. But now as the U.S., I think I have no problem giving up Kennedy, just like you said, and just get Kennedy out of the deck before the reshuffle.
Yeah, I mean, gunmen in South America, right, are gone. Those are the only 2 you really care about with Kennedy.
Yep, and so another VP is going to go to Hervé for Willy Brandt. Not particularly consequential otherwise. And now AR7, I think 100% would rather give up Kennedy than OAS or Puppets here. For sure.
Yeah, Puppets is a problem with Africa now. So I agree. Now that makes your turn 7 hand tough with those 2 cards. But OAS, OAS maybe isn't terrible.
A lot of countries overprotected here. I think you'd see Argentina jammed, but I think just getting Kennedy out of the deck right now, and he's not going to be that upset to see OPEC discarded. If Gabriel even wants to discard OPEC, he may want to just hold it through. Yeah, because he doesn't want to pick up Africa's scoring. Well, maybe he does want to pick up Africa's scoring. Actually, he would definitely like to pick up Africa's scoring.
Well, I mean, are we going to see a Zaire flip here with Kennedy?
No, because he's under Purge.
Oh, right.
And so, he's just going to hold OPEC through, or maybe he'll space it to try to get to. Maybe he just wants his space shot to get to headline peak. A lot of options here for Gabriel. He's down 7 VPs though. And so, Ted, let's just reset the board a little bit heading into turn 7, heading into this reshuffle. If indeed we're going to have a reshuffle, we have seen the China card played a couple of times. Let's make sure we do see the reshuffle. He goes to space, hits it, and there is the reshuffle. Okay, so heading into turn 7, the USSR in control in South America, dominates Central, and then the U.S. In comfortable control in Europe with de Gaulle gone, and then Africa still to be scored here. Looks like that's in Hervé's hand. Who would you say is ahead here?
I mean, it has to be Hervé, right? He's up 7 VPs. Africa is likely to be neutral at worst. The U.S. I guess has a chance at Asia domination, but it's going to take some work.
And not using the China card. So yes, I completely agree with you, Ted. The USSR, Hervé, no question ahead. He's got ABM, but now the US has grain, and so the US is going to be able to see. Gabriel's going to be able to see Hervé's headline, and so I think if I think so, you're going to headline grain here, or now the reshuffle was not very many cards, so I believe Gabriel's going to know Hervé's entire hand or all but one card. So if the headline is ABM, I don't think Missile Envy is going to be particularly helpful here. And well, of course, we know it won't be particularly helpful, but I think Gabriel should know that as well. If the headline is for some reason not ABM, I think Missile Envy is an auto headline here, right?
Yeah, because we have not seen ABM. Shuttle might come into play here. That's a way to kind of short circuit the Asia. You could event it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, shuttle is interesting,
and
okay,
I believe
so ABM
that gives
is the headline. Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. And shuttle. Yeah, shuttle's actually a nice little path there to domination without having to take a bunch of countries. But yeah, I would expect grain sales. The other thing here, grain sales plus 5-year plan and plus Missile Envy. I mean, you could just be taking a lot of your opponent's cards.
Yeah, and you know that their hand is not very good. Obviously, Hervé happy to get ABM, but the rest of his hand is not good. Low ops, NORAD probably don't even want to trigger this late. We'll see. Obviously, UN intervention is good to get rid of one of these cards. Oh boy, no. And that is a problem. So now you are not going to be able to fight for domination, and in fact. And so UN intervention, that's a lucky break for Hervé as well. So he rolls a 6 on the coup. UN intervention must be returned, cannot be played in the headline phase. Gabriel seemingly perhaps not aware of that rule.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be immediately. I'm definitely trying to go with UN.
Yep, it's literally you can't that now the one benefit there is I believe UN may have been an unknown card. I'm not sure. But yeah, so UN has to be returned, and so that's going to free up some obligations here for Hervé. Now he can use UN on one of these bad events and not have to skip an action round.
Well, yes, that's true. I mean, then does make 5-year plan, I think, probably a little bit more tempting.
Yep, and so 2-op coup here in... Got a 2-op coup here in Nigeria, and so now you could see Nigerian realigns here, or he's just going to score it because the U.S.
He's got too many problems.
Yep, he's got too many problems, and the U.S. doesn't have domination, even though Gabriel does have 4 battlegrounds, and so yes, the situation was not going to get better for Gabriel. He's happy to get rid of that scoring card. 5-year plan could be an interesting event here, but I think you need the ops in Asia with the scoring in your hand, especially with Hervé knowing that you have it.
Yeah, I might use arms race and just hold out the possibility of playing 5-year plan, but.
Yeah, and this is an issue here because now only 6 countries for Gabriel in Asia and 8 for Hervé. So he's going to have to flip a country here. So I don't know. You may see Laos and Indonesia overprotected here because I mean, unless I'm doing my math wrong, Gabriel's got to take Japan and he's got to flip another country.
Yeah, he could also take Japan, I think, in event shuttle, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, as long as he doesn't use China. You are right. Yes, he can take Japan and event shuttle. So he can use arms race for 3 into Japan, event shuttle, and then get out of it. Now, that's obviously a lot of ops, but worth it to prevent those VPs and keep Hervé out of war games range. But yes, this would be an excellent use of shuttle here.
Yeah, and then you score Asia, then you're able to play the China card if you want to. And then potentially take it back with Nixon, and then you own the China card for the rest of the game.
Yes, with culture out of the deck, you own it. for the rest of the game, which could be important. We haven't talked much about it because we've been busy with other things. But both Lone Gunman and CIA Created are in the deck for the late war. So DEF CON could certainly play a factor. And so yes, a UN of East European unrest. Oh well, that makes sense with Europe sitting at 3-3. So Europe control also could absolutely come into play. Gabriel. Now Warsaw, of course, still on the deck as well. So lots of interesting dynamics here. Certainly, Ted, I think you'd agree. There's no question that Hervé is ahead on the board in terms of VPs and on the board. But the U.S. with a very viable path to victory, is going to be controlling the China card. CIA still on the deck, and with Europe sitting very weak for the USSR.
Yes. Yep. I think Europe could be problematic. I think problems in Europe is probably the most likely way that the U.S. wins this game, barring DEF CON. Now, grain sales obviously just went out on turn 7. So you're happy as the USSR to see that, because that really just leaves, CIA being a real problem.
Yep. Yeah, you got CIA tear down. Obviously, Duck's still around, and Cal as well, though Cal is inactive. Decides the space, finally gets off the ground. Hervé embracing science. And Ted, as you remarked, and as I missed, so thank you for clarifying that. The shuttle event here would stop domination. I would. Okay, so filling up Jordan does stop domination. Yeah, okay, overprotect Zaire, even though Africa was just scored. But yeah, I would be thinking about eventing shuttle here.
Yeah. I guess your opponent does not have Middle East scoring. I don't think you're particularly worried about that. Okay, now this is going to be a nuisance here. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, the one thing with that missile envy play is here comes Liberation, and Gabriel does not have a great card to counter that with.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give up South African unrest. He doesn't want to give up Nixon, I wouldn't think.
I guess you just play Nixon and then just keep the China card.
Yeah, he's going to have to deal with that, and then he's got to event shuttle. Yeah, it's getting late in the turn here because he's going to have to event shuttle, and then a simple poke of Japan gives back domination, right?
Yeah.
Well, or no? We're going to have to see. So. He cannot play. Gabriel cannot play the China card here before scoring Asia.
You might just give up South Africa, honestly.
That's true. You could do that. It's not going to affect domination, and Angola is immediately reliable. Although, of course, that would make Zaire immediately reliable as well. But Africa was just scored probably the least important region on the board right now. So yeah, giving up South African wouldn't have been the worst thing in the world there.
I'm interested to see if Hervé has read this. I mean, Liberation was a logical play there, but he's just going to end up being a nuisance for the rest of this turn, I would assume.
Yeah. Now he does have to give up OAS because he UN'd East European. He did UN,
yes. Okay, that's reasonable. Does allow your opponent to fix Argentina, but prevents any more shenanigans there in Panama.
Yeah, it's interesting. We didn't talk about OAS, but I wonder if perhaps you could have. I don't know that you could have ignored that Panama threat because the U.S. You can just give up NORAD. The USSR can just give up NORAD and take Panama, but he did know that OAS was coming out. So. Now, shuttle has been evented, and so I think you use NORAD to poke, and then you use nuclear subs to poke again, and you score your domination here, right?
Yes. Yeah, because I was going to say, Gabriel can't overprotect all of his battlegrounds.
Yep. And that cannot, so he can fix that. but then it'll just get poked again. And
probably.
This is, yeah, you're going to have to use China, but okay. No, but I think that is going to overprotect. But now you've lost a battleground.
Interesting. I think a poke of a non-battleground does it now?
Malaysia. Poke of Malaysia is fine.
And you gave your opponent the China card.
Mistake. That was a bad mistake, I believe, because I believe now a poke of, unless I'm counting wrong, happened before, but I believe a poke of Malaysia gives changes domination here, and then because of course Hervé knows Gabriel has Asia, knows he has to score it now, and then you don't get anything out of nuclear subs either. And there's the poke, and he gave up the China card. Yeah, that is that was a mistake. He gives up. Now he loses out on the Asia scoring. He gets nothing out of shuttle. China card now goes over to the USSR in a situation with both lone gunmen and CIA in the deck. And there's South America. This could be the game here.
Oh. Yeah, it was that missile envy play that just, one went to Jordan and one went to Africa somewhere that just didn't need to happen, and just put him in that situation. Yeah, I think if he had invented shuttle there, but okay.
So South and Central America both out here now. Junta is in the U.S. hand, so he could maybe make a play here in South America, but certainly he's going to give up a domination. He can get some VPs from space. I'm not sure I can see the game advancing beyond this turn, Ted.
I learned that makes sense. The USSR, this is going to be a tough road here for Gabriel, unfortunately. I mean, even without the Asia disaster last turn, I don't would have changed things. It doesn't get the roll. That doesn't get the roll.
Yeah. So I think you're at this point just going to put DEFCON to 2 and repair that, right? You don't need to even mess around with a coup. You repair that, take your 8 in South America, and then you leave the USSR fighting. Now the space can be 3 VPs here. But I still don't, but that is not going to be enough.
No, it is not. Korean War could potentially get you out. That's going to be it for all 6, I guess. But yeah. OPEC's unplayable. Leo Perry's unplayable, obviously. You'd have to have any hope here. Coup, the Caribbean countries, realign Cuba. That Mexico being a 10 is so brutal.
Yeah, that brush war was huge. So he's gonna reach for his 4-op right now, and I want to just overprotect. Yeah, gonna overprotect everything. Yep, and there ain't nothing that Gabriel can do about that. So he's just gonna go to space and miss. Now he's got another chance at it, unless and Gabriel Hervé is not going to bother with space. He's just going to score his 8. Yep, got to go to space again. He will miss again, and that's going to do it.
Yeah,
there is no path back.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, how I learned a nuclear test ban. Ted, I admit that is a bit of a hole in my game.
Smart. Oh, yeah. I love that Yuri Samantha play. Oh.
So mean. That's just, it's so mean. But yeah, I often don't think of a nuclear test ban as a VP source. But that could have been that could have been the game as well. And yeah, there's we're just playing out the string here.
Well, Justin, now might be a good time to talk about our game on Monday. That is going to be for the division lead in the Baltimore division of ITSL, and I think you're going to be streaming that, right?
Yeah, I'll be streaming that live on my channel, Twitch TV / Pioneer Towel. So hope you guys will tune in. The opening coup on that one's going to be 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Monday evening. That's UTC -5 for our international audience.
And I think that one's going to be a little different because I think we're both going to be on audio for that stream, reminiscent of what Hassan and Zimowit did a few months ago with their Blitz banter.
Yep. So yeah, we're the two of us just going to be talking to each other as we have for so many of our in-person games. It's been a fun one. We've played. Playdeck said we've played about 160 or so games. How many do you think we've played in person?
No, 20.
Yeah. I think at least 20.
Maybe more.
I remember some late evenings in the office and playing Twilight Struggle. All right, so Ortega evented here to take Botswana. I guess Gabriel at this point is hoping that Hervé plays terrorism on him.
Yep, he could have been Summit as well.
Yep, we could see that.
Of course, he gets the 5 to add insult to injury.
Yep, just a mean coup there.
Well, he could get 4. You know, he could realign Mexico. And 6-1, 6-1, 6-1, 6-1.
Yeah, clean him out. This has been fun, but I think it's come to an end. And yep, we're going to see the Summit event. He's behind in these roles.
Yeah, but classy play here by Gabriel. Very much on brand for Action Round 0, and that is going to do it.
Always want to see Summit evented, and doesn't even need to go to the DEF CON track, as the Summit event is going to put Hervé over the top to 21 VPs and give him the victory. So Hervé improves to 13-3, maintains his hold on first place in the Lyon division. Next